This is not the end of humanity, but it might be the end of something else, something more fragile. The end of feeling essential. The end of believing that your place in the world is secure simply because you were born with a mind, a voice, and a soul. That illusion is being stripped away, not violently, not with fire or war, but with silence, with screens, with lines of code you'll never see, with algorithms that don't blink, don't care, and don't stop. And as the noise of human competition fades into the quiet hum of machines, you have to ask yourself, where do I fit in this new world? This is the defining question of our era. Every previous revolution gave people time. Time to resist, to adapt, to find a new rhythm. But this one doesn't. AI doesn't crawl. It sprints. It doesn't pause for policy or protest. It doesn't wait for permission. It evolves every minute, every second. And it doesn't care who can't keep up. Some people will rise with it. The engineers, the founders, the funders, the ones who see the machine not as a threat, but as a gateway to power. They will feed the system, shape it, own it, and they will prosper. But what about everyone else? We're told to learn new skills, to adapt, to pivot. But how many times can a human being pivot before they break? How many skills can you learn in a race you're not allowed to win? What happens when every new skill you acquire is immediately mastered by a machine that doesn't sleep, doesn't charge rent, and doesn't care? You are not lazy. You are not stupid. You're just playing a game that's being rewritten while you play it, and no one told you the rules changed. The truth is, the system wasn't designed to protect you. It was designed to optimize you, to extract from you, to replace you when you're no longer the best option. And now, for the first time in history, there's an option that doesn't eat, doesn't sleep, doesn't complain, and doesn't feel. A perfect worker, a tireless creator, an invisible army that grows stronger every day. The illusion of stability has shattered. And deep down, you already know it. You feel it when you apply for a job and get ghosted by an automated system. You feel it when you see content that looks like it was made by a person, but wasn't. You feel it when you realize the internet doesn't need you to speak. It just needs you to click. We're not building a better world, we're building a faster one, a more predictable one, a machine-compatible one, and the more machine-compatible it becomes, the less human-friendly it is. Everything becomes data. Every choice, a pattern. Every relationship, a metric. And in that process, something gets lost. Something we can't quantify. Wonder, mystery, grace. You can't automate a child's laughter, or the silence between two people who understand each other without words. You can't reduce grief to a line of code. You can't teach a machine how it feels to fail, to get back up, to try again, not because it was logical, but because it mattered. But if the world no longer values those things, then the machines don't need to learn them, and we don't need to remember them. That's the danger. Not that machines will become like humans, but that humans will become like machines. Efficient, predictable, disposable. This is already happening. Think about how you speak now, how you think, how you present yourself. Filtered, edited, optimized for attention, optimized for the algorithm. Every post, every video, every comment, shaped not by what's real, but by what performs. We've become products of the machine, and we're shaping ourselves for its approval. That's not freedom. That's assimilation. And if we don't stop to ask, if we don't draw a line, then we won't even notice when we've crossed it. When the world we once called home becomes something colder, flatter, faster, and emptier. The solution isn't to destroy the machine. That's impossible. It's not going away. The solution is to remember what it means to be human, to fight not for relevance, but for meaning, to build systems that serve people, not the other way around, to create, not because it performs, but because it heals, because it inspires, because it's beautiful. To speak, even when no one is listening, to care, even when it doesn't scale, to love, even when it doesn't make sense. That is your power, because the machine can mimic, but it cannot care. It can imitate, but it cannot feel. It can analyze, but it cannot suffer. It can remember, but it cannot forgive. Those are the things that make you irreplaceable, and those are the things we must protect. It starts with awareness, with waking up, refusing to let the machine define your worth, refusing to let it steal your voice, your creativity, your story. You don't have to win the race. You just have to stop running the machine's race. Start asking better questions. What matters to me? What do I want to create? What kind of world do I want to live in? And what am I willing to do to make that world real? It won't be easy. The tide is strong. The systems are powerful. The incentives are stacked against you, but you're not powerless. Every act of resistance matters. Every human connection, every moment of honesty, every piece of an optimized, unfiltered truth. It matters because in the end, the machine can only replace what we willingly give it. If we give it our voices, our thoughts, our passions, then, yes, it will replace us. But if we hold something back, if we draw a line, if we protect the parts of ourselves that don't fit into the system, then there's still hope. Hope for a world that's not ruled by profit, but by purpose. Not by code, but by compassion. Not by power, but by presence. You were not born to be efficient. You were born to be alive, and the machine will never know what that means, but you do. So remember it, hold on to it, and don't let go. There's something deeply unsettling about watching a machine outperform you. It's not just about losing a job or missing an opportunity. It's a deeper fear. The fear that you're no longer needed. That your skills, your experience, your effort, none of it matters anymore. Because somewhere, a cold, tireless algorithm can do it better. And it doesn't feel shame, or pride, or fear. It just does the job. Every second, without end. But what we often forget is that AI isn't creating itself. It's being created, trained, fed, by us. Every click, every search, every swipe is a lesson, a signal, a data point. You are the teacher, the subject, and the product. And the more it learns from you, the better it becomes at replacing you. We thought we were building tools to serve us, but in reality, we've been building systems to study us, predict us, simulate us, replace us, not because that was the plan, but because it was profitable. And that's the root of the problem. Profit, efficiency, scale. These are the gods of the digital age, and AI is their most faithful servant. Look around. AI decides which ads you see, which content goes viral, which voices are amplified. But it also decides who gets approved for a loan, who gets flagged as a threat, who is worth hiring. It's not just about automation, it's about judgment. Machines are now involved in deciding who deserves what, and they do it based on patterns, data, history, which means they repeat the past. They don't question it. They don't feel injustice. They just replicate it at scale. And the scariest part, you can't argue with an algorithm. It has no face, no empathy, no accountability. Just code, just logic, just math. And yet, these invisible systems are shaping the world you live in. Quietly, constantly, and most people don't even realize it. You apply for a job, you're rejected. No explanation. The system said no. You apply for a mortgage. Denied. Not because of anything you did, but because your data matched the wrong pattern. You're categorized. Scored. Ranked, not as a person, but as a profile. And this profiling isn't just passive. It becomes predictive, preventive, punitive. You're labeled high risk, not because of what you've done, but because of what you might do. Minority Report isn't fiction anymore. It's becoming business as usual. Governments are adopting AI for surveillance, for policing, for warfare. Autonomous drones, facial recognition, predictive policing systems. Tools that decide who gets watched, who gets stopped, who gets targeted. And all of it wrapped in the language of safety, of order, of progress. But who watches the watchers? Who audits the algorithms? Who decides what's right? We've handed over immense power to machines we don't understand, built by companies we don't control, for purposes we don't fully grasp, and in return, we get convenience, speed, simplicity, but at what cost? There's a hidden toll to all this automation, a cost we rarely measure. The human cost, the cashier who lost her job to a self-checkout machine, the journalist replaced by a headline generator, the musician whose song was copied by an algorithm in seconds, the artist whose style was mimicked by a machine trained on their work without credit, without consent. We talk about innovation, but we rarely talk about theft. Theft of time, of effort, of soul, because AI doesn't create in a vacuum. It consumes what we create. It trains on our stories, our images, our voices. It learns from us, and then replaces us with what it learned. And as this continues, something strange begins to happen. We stop creating. We stop trying. Why write when a machine can do it faster? Why paint when a generator can do it better? Why speak when no one can tell the difference between your voice and a synthetic one? We become spectators of our own extinction, not violently, not suddenly, but silently, slowly, one task at a time, one skill at a time, one identity at a time. And still, we're told not to worry, that there will be new jobs, that will adapt, that the machines will make life better, easier, simpler, but simpler for who? Because while billions are being made by those who build and own the systems, millions are being left behind, struggling to keep up, watching their value shrink, watching their relevance fade. We're told to embrace the future, but the future we're being offered doesn't embrace us back. It doesn't see us as essential. It sees us as inefficient, as noise, and the system doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you either. It simply doesn't care. It's not evil. It's indifferent. It follows incentives. And in a world driven by efficiency, humanity is an inconvenience. The more automated the world becomes, the more alienating it gets. Conversations are replaced by transactions. Moments are replaced by metrics. People are replaced by processes. You walk into a building and no one greets you. You order food and no one speaks to you. You get customer support from a chatbot. You get advice from a virtual assistant. You live surrounded by systems that simulate interaction but never truly connect. And this lack of connection isn't harmless, it erodes something fundamental. The feeling of being seen, heard, valued, human. We're social beings. We need touch. eye contact, nuance, sciences, imperfection. That's what makes life real. But machines don't do nuance. They do patterns, probability, precision, and when those values become the default, when everything is optimized, streamlined, gamified, we begin to forget how to be human. We forget how to wait, how to wonder, how to feel. The irony is, we built AI to serve us, but now we're serving it, feeding it data, training it, trusting it, obeying it. We're being reshaped, not just economically, but emotionally, philosophically, spiritually. Because if we begin to believe that machines are better, at everything more accurate, more consistent, more logical, then what's the point of being human? That question haunts this moment. And yet, it's the wrong question. The point of being human isn't to compete with machines. It's to remember what they can't do, what they'll never truly feel. Wonder, awe, love, longing, empathy, creativity. That comes from pain. Connection that comes from vulnerability. These things can be imitated but not lived, not felt, not embodied. But in a world obsessed with output, those things are being devalued, pushed aside, forgotten. And so, the challenge is not just to resist replacement, it's to reclaim meaning, to ask, what do I offer that no machine can? What does it mean to be irreplaceable? Maybe it's not about speed, or accuracy, or efficiency. Maybe it's about presence, imagination, emotion, complexity. Maybe it's about being able to hold contradiction, to live with doubt, to love anyway. These are not things AI does well, or ever will, because it doesn't live. It doesn't suffer. It doesn't dream. You do. And in that dream, there is power. There is purpose, but only if you remember it. Only if you protect it. Only if you fight for it. Because make no mistake, this is a fight. A fight for your future, your worth, your humanity. And it's not happening on a battlefield. It's happening in your home, your job, your phone, every day, every interaction. And the outcome is not yet decided. Imagine walking into a store with no employees, no cashiers, no greeters, no security, just cameras, sensors, and AI watching your every move. You grab what you need, walk out, and your account is automatically charged. That store already exists. It's not an idea, it's not a prototype, it's real, and it's spreading. What used to take a staff of 20 now needs none. That's not innovation, that's elimination. And it doesn't stop at retail. Call centers are rapidly replacing human agents with voice bots. They don't get tired. They don't get angry, they don't quit. And if you've spoken to one lately, you'll notice they're getting better. More convincing, more human. Sometimes, you don't even realize you're speaking to a machine until the call is over. And by then, the job that used to belong to someone is already gone. But here's where it gets darker. AI isn't just learning how to replace work. It's learning how to replace thought. It's learning how to shape opinions, suggest decisions, and even predict behavior. Recommendation engines decide what you watch, what you buy, who you date, what you believe. These systems are quietly nudging you every single day, and the more data they collect, the more accurate they become. They know when you're sad. They know when you're tired. They know when you're vulnerable. They feed you content that keeps you hooked, that reinforces your emotions, that guides your behavior. And you think you're making free choices, but are you? The human brain was never designed for this kind of manipulation. We evolved in small tribes, surrounded by nature, community, and limited information. Now, we live in algorithmic bubbles, constantly bombarded with stimuli we didn't choose. AI curates our world, and the scariest part is that we like it. We've become addicted to convenience, addicted to efficiency, addicted to the idea that machines can make life easier. But easier doesn't mean better, and faster doesn't mean safer. As AI systems grow more powerful, the balance of control shifts, from people to platforms, from workers to owners, from democracy to data. And that shift isn't being voted on. It's being coded in, behind closed doors, by engineers, executives, and algorithms we don't understand. Every click you make, every message you send, every pause on a video is data. And that data is feeding machines that are being trained to replace you, your patterns, your choices, your voice, even your face. Deepfake technology is now advanced enough to replicate a person's voice with just a few minutes of audio. A few photos can be turned into lifelike videos. Your likeness, your identity, your very essence can be copied and sold, and you might never know. You could be replaced online before you're even replaced in real life. And yet, most people still believe they're in control. They use AI tools, casually image generators, writing assistants, virtual girlfriends, and never question the consequences. They don't ask who benefits. They don't ask what's lost. They just see novelty, not the slow erasure of their relevance. We used to say machines couldn't feel. That emotion made us unique. But AI is being trained to mimic empathy, to recognize microexpressions, to adjust tone, to simulate care. It's not real, but it doesn't have to be. In a world driven by efficiency, imitation is enough. If a machine can comfort you during a crisis, make you laugh during a breakup, or motivate you when you're down, who needs a real friend, a real therapist, a real voice? And this isn't limited to personal life. In business, emotional intelligence is being outsourced. AI can now conduct interviews, evaluate candidates, and even negotiate deals. CEOs are using AI to make hiring decisions. AI is analyzing your personality from your speech, your resume, your social media, and deciding your fate before you even step into a room. In politics, AI can craft speeches, predict voter behavior, and manipulate public sentiment. It can run campaigns better than humans. It can target fears, exploit biases, and stir division, all while appearing neutral, objective, smart. But the truth is, AI reflects the data it's trained on, and data comes from our mistakes, our prejudices, our flaws. So, what happens when flawed machines are used to govern flawed societies? It's already happening. Algorithms decide who gets loans, who gets hired, who gets monitored, who gets jailed. And when something goes wrong, no one takes responsibility. It's just the system, a faceless machine, a convenient excuse. And through all of this, the average person is just trying to survive, to make rent, to feed their family, to hold on to whatever job they have left. But the world is changing too fast. And we were never taught how to prepare. Schools still teach outdated skills. Curriculums built for a past that no longer exists. No one teaches children how to navigate a world run by machines, how to protect their data, how to spot manipulation, how to adapt to constant change. The result is a lost generation, trapped between human values and machine logic, trying to find meaning in a world that rewards efficiency over empathy, precision over passion, speed over soul. And what about the creators of this technology? The engineers, the scientists, the billionaires. They tell us AI is a tool, that it can be used for good, that it can solve climate change, cure diseases, end poverty. And maybe that's true. But who decides what's good? Who decides which problems get solved, and which people get left behind? Because make no mistake, AI is not neutral. It reflects the values of those who build it. And those values are often driven by profit, power, and control. Not justice, not equality, not humanity. Already, we're seeing the effects. Artists losing jobs to image generators. Writers being replaced by text bots, musicians competing with algorithms that can generate thousands of melodies in seconds. The gatekeepers are changing, and the gates are closing. People who once had purpose are being told to pivot, to adapt, to learn to code. But even coding is being automated. AI can now write software, debug errors, and design applications better than junior developers. What then? The truth is, we're entering a world where being human is no longer enough. Not in the eyes of the system, not in the logic of algorithms. The question isn't whether AI will replace us. The question is, what happens after it does? Will we find new purpose, new roles, new identities, or will we become obsolete? Left to watch machines do what we once did, only faster, cleaner, cheaper. Some say universal basic income is the answer. That when machines do all the work, humans can finally rest, create, explore. But rest without purpose leads to despair, and creativity without value leads to frustration. People want to matter, not just survive. And yet, everything around us is pushing us toward irrelevance. Smart homes that run themselves, self-driving cars that don't need drivers, virtual assistants that manage our lives. We're outsourcing not just labor, but life itself. And in doing so, we risk forgetting what it means to be human, because humanity isn't just about capability. It's about connection, struggle, growth, mistakes, things machines don't experience. Can't experience, not yet. But if we build a world where those things no longer matter, where only output, precision, and profit count, then we've already lost. We've already been replaced. Not by machines, but by a mindset, a belief that humans are expendable. And it's that belief that AI is now learning, replicating, scaling. So what can we do? We start by waking up, by asking questions, by refusing to accept every new innovation as progress, by demanding that humanity be part of the future we're building, not a casualty of it. We need to reclaim meaning, reclaim agency, reclaim the right to matter, not because we outperform machines, but because we are more than machines, and we must do it now, because the clock is ticking, the systems are learning, and the replacements are already here. You wake up one morning, reach for your phone, and ask your virtual assistant about the weather. She replies instantly. You don't think twice about it. But what you didn't notice was that just 5 years ago, that task used to require a human, a meteorologist, a radio announcer, a news anchor, now replaced by a line of code, an algorithm, a voice in your pocket that never sleeps, never gets tired, never asks for a raise. It's happening quietly, invisibly, and fast. AI is no longer just about science fiction. It's not about the future. It's about now. Artificial intelligence is replacing human labor faster than you think. And the craziest part, most people don't even see it coming. They still believe their job, their skills, their education make them safe. But safety is an illusion in a world where machines are learning faster than we can teach them. Just a decade ago, artificial intelligence could barely recognize a cat in a photo. Today, it can write poetry, compose symphonies, create digital art, diagnose diseases, and make complex decisions in a fraction of a second. Machines are no longer tools. They're coworkers, competitors, replacements, and unlike us, they don't sleep, get sick, need vacations, or ask for healthcare. That makes them the perfect employee in the eyes of corporations, governments, and billionaires. Consider this. In the United States alone, over 40 million people work in transportation, retail, and food service. Jobs that require routine tasks. Jobs that can be predicted, measured, automated. Self-checkout kiosks are everywhere. Fast food chains are rolling out AI-powered bots that take your order, cook your burger, and deliver your food all without human hands. Trucking companies are testing autonomous vehicles that can drive thousands of miles without stopping. Every one of those innovations doesn't just enhance productivity, it eliminates a job. People think it's just the low-wage roles being replaced. But AI doesn't discriminate. Accountants, lawyers, journalists, even doctors. No profession is immune. OpenAI's GPT models are already writing articles, analyzing contracts, and assisting with legal research faster and cheaper than paralegals. Radiologists used to spend hours reviewing X-rays and mixture now. An AI can detect tumors with higher accuracy in seconds. These aren't future possibilities. They're current realities. The scariest part is how quickly this transformation is accelerating. AI learns exponentially. Every second, it consumes more data, trains faster, and improves itself. And while humans take years to master a new skill, AI can learn it overnight. It doesn't need to sleep, eat, or rest. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't forget. Once a machine learns how to do a job better than a human, that knowledge is copied, scaled, and deployed globally. There's no union, no protests, no warning, just silence. What makes this wave of automation different from previous ones is that it's cognitive. The Industrial Revolution replaced muscles. This revolution is replacing minds, and that means no one is safe. Writers, designers, coders, teachers, voice actors, therapists. The list is growing every day. We used to think creativity made us human. That imagination, art, language were uniquely ours. But now machines are creating paintings that sell for thousands. They're composing original music that moves people to tears. They're writing movie scripts, crafting novels, and generating stories that rival human authors. The line between artificial and authentic is disappearing. And what do we do in response? Most people scroll past it. They laugh at funny, AI-generated memes. They marvel at how smart chatbots have become. They use AI tools to make their work easier, but they don't realize they're training their own replacement. Every prompt, every correction, every dataset helps the machine become better. Then the illusion of control is comforting. People tell themselves that AI will assist us, not replace us, that it will free us from boring tasks. But the reality is less romantic. Corporations don't invest in technology to create leisure. They do it to cut costs, to eliminate redundancy, to increase profits, and in that equation, humans are the most expensive variable. If you think your job is safe because it requires emotional intelligence or human connection, think again. AI is already being used in therapy apps, relationship coaching, and grief counseling. It doesn't mean these tools are better than human therapists, but they're faster, cheaper, and available 24/7. And for millions of people who can't afford traditional services, AI becomes the only option. The same goes for education. AI tutors can now teach math, science, and languages with personalized feedback, infinite patience, and perfect memory. Teachers are irreplaceable. We say, but what happens when a digital teacher can offer better results at scale? What happens when the system decides it's more efficient to automate learning? Efficiency is the new god, and AI is its prophet. We've created a system that rewards speed, productivity, and cost-cutting above all else, and AI delivers all three. That's why it's being adopted so rapidly. Not because it's perfect, but because it's profitable. And in a capitalist world, profit always wins. The people at the top, those who own the AI systems, will thrive. They'll control the infrastructure, the data, the platforms. But for everyone else, the future becomes uncertain. Displacement isn't theoretical, it's happening now. Millions of people are already being squeezed out of the labor market. Some are told to retrain. But retrain for what? If AI can learn anything, faster and cheaper, then where do humans fit in? This isn't fear, it's a wake-up call. If history has taught us anything, it's that technology changes society faster than society can adapt. When the printing press was invented, it disrupted power structures overnight. When factories replaced hand labor, it led to mass unemployment, protests, and revolutions. But those changes happened over decades. AI is evolving by the minute. It's not just the loss of jobs. It's the loss of purpose, identity, routine, dignity. Work is more than income. It's structure, meaning, social connection. When AI takes that away, what fills the gap? Depression, anxiety, social unrest. Already, we're seeing signs of it. Rising rates of mental illness, widespread loneliness. The gig economy has replaced stable careers with temporary tasks. And now, even those tasks delivering food, editing videos, translating documents are being taken by algorithms. We've been told that new technologies create new jobs. That disruption is followed by innovation. That the internet created roles no one could have predicted, and while that's true, it doesn't always balance out. Not immediately, and not equally. The AI revolution isn't just another wave. It's a tsunami, one that's swallowing entire industries without giving people time to swim. Imagine a young person graduating from college today. They studied hard, they followed the rules. They picked a field that was once considered safe. Maybe finance, maybe journalism, maybe software engineering. But the job they trained for no longer exists. Or if it does, it pays less, demands more, and is under constant threat from automation. What kind of world are we building? One where knowledge becomes obsolete the moment it's learned. One where your best isn't enough because a machine can do it better, faster, cheaper. This isn't a problem for the future. It's the reality of now. The systems are already in place. The AI tools are already in use. The job listings are already changing, and most people are still pretending it's not happening, because to admit it, to really see what's coming, would mean facing some hard questions about work, about value, about what it means to be human in a world where machines can do almost everything we can, and that's just the beginning.